You are Locked On Celtics POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, I'm not really sure what to make of that, but we can say the Celtics took round one of their back-to-back in Charlotte against the Hornets on Friday night, winning 124-109. Celtics avoid a second straight loss after opening up the road trip with an overtime loss against the Pacers in Indianapolis on Wednesday night. With that, we welcome you into our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime play-by-play announcer, former national show host on ESPN Radio and satellite radio. You are locked on with the Locked On Celtics postcast, providing reaction to every Celtics game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as the Locked On Celtics podcast feed, which is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. With our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, we're going to discuss Tatum, Brown, and Mr. Queta off the bench. And how about Jordan Walsh as well, knocking down a couple of threes, including his first look of the game, that in the second quarter. Celtics, again, avoid a second straight loss. We're going to get into the Hornets because down the stretch, the Hornets maybe did what the Hornets do. We want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the conversation, watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Hit the comment button and join our conversation. Give us one random thought on the Celtics' road victory against the Hornets. Again, they'll play the Hornets Saturday night and their first back-to-back of the season. Hit me up on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at LennoxOnHoops. Episode brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Again, we want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. You can join the conversation if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Hit the comment button and join the conversation. I want to go right there because if you were with us Wednesday night, I talked for about 8 minutes and there were a couple of comments including, hey, we can't hear you. And also, we can't read lips. Looks like we're on. Checking in with Mike, checking in with Pascal. Mike gets our first of the game. Shout out to the fans at the arena. Felt like a playoff atmosphere up until the final few minutes when things went south for the Hornets. They did. But I feel like the Hornets, throughout the course of the game, they were just going to find a way to lose it. And Mike, kudos to you because you bring up one of my first points of the game. Late first quarter. Celtics were up 15 at the end of the first quarter. Brown and Tatum started off great, scoring on each of the first two possessions for the Celtics. Then late in the first quarter, White had a floater, Queta a tap-in on a miss on a three by Pritchard, who did not have a good night from behind the arc. Tatum, a three after an offensive rebound. That made it 34-23. Hauser, a three with a 2-for-1. Tatum, closing seconds of the first quarter, fouled on a three. Hit all three free throws. Again, Celtics up one after the first. And to Mike's point, a great closeout to the first quarter for the Celtics. And you heard the fans. Let's go Celtics. First NBC Sports Boston reference of the night, Drew Carter, Brian Scalabrine mentioned it. Hey, a lot of New Englanders now make their home in the Carolinas. The Hornets dubbed themselves as the team of the Carolinas. I don't know if that's the exact thing that they use, but in their press releases, welcome to the Carolinas. Charlotte, not that far away from the South Carolina border. But you had let's go Celtics chants at the end of the first quarter. Hornets fans in attendance booed. Then you heard Tatum at the free throw line with chants of MVP on the road. And kudos to Celtics fans who were in the area, right? But you can see the Celtics back-to-back games. First back-to-back of the season, no Al Horford, no problem. Queta gave great minutes, especially in the fourth quarter. Did a terrific job getting into the fourth quarter and taking it from there. Got to find my notes. Because Queta came onto the floor. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to do notes for Celtics games. I got it early on with the Locked On Red Sox postcast back in June. But Queta trying to find the right note. Queta came in. Joe Mazzulla brought him onto the floor with 9:05 to go in the fourth quarter. And Queta did an outstanding job. But the Hornets, they didn't go away. And I give them credit for that. But then you just thought something's going to happen. Celtics took the lead in that first quarter, never trailed again. So let's get to that. White, beautiful three, got the Celtics to within one. Holiday then had a three to make it 18-16 in front of the Celtics. Celtics then went on a terrific run. Cornette had the dunk. Tatum a three. Tatum a dunk. Brown a layup. 15-1 run for the Celtics. Late in the first quarter, 19-5. But the Hornets had runs as well. They scored the first 7 points of the third quarter. But under 5 to go, LaMelo Ball still trying to figure out what LaMelo Ball is as a pro. He's 23 years old. He's 5th year in the league. He's had injuries each of the last 2 years. But he missed on a three with under 5 to go. Celtics were up 108-101. A technical on Charles Lee. Free throw added to the Celtics lead at that point. Holiday missed the front end, hit the second out of the timeout. Celtics up by 10. White a miss. Hornets a turnover. Could have cut into the deficit at that point. Holiday with a three. Hornets a miss. Grant Williams then the check of Jayson Tatum. Williams gone. Flagrant 2. Bye-bye. Hard hit. Tatum walked away from it. Other 9 guys were pretty much talking near midcourt or over midcourt into the Celtics offensive end. Flagrant 2. 3 free throws. Tatum. Then a flagrant 1 on Ball as Tatum had 3 free throws. And then Bridges gets tossed from the game. They just sort of melted down at that point in time. Again, if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit the comment button and let's get going here. Accidental Migrant, thank you for promptly giving us post-game news. Hey, this is on you guys. An accidental migrant, thank you. A fan in New Zealand. I think we have the potential here to absolutely whether you're born in the U.S. and abroad, or if you're just abroad and you're a big NBA fan, you're a Celtics fan, you're with us, we tip our cap to you. On board with us. I've got an idea that I'm going to share with my bosses for next week. See if it happens. When I take them ideas, a lot of the times, they'll let me run with them. Why were the texts given liberally? Hey, both coaches. And we'll get into the Hornets head coach coming up in our second segment. Missoula, offensive foul for Queta on the screen. I forget the Hornets player. I think it was Josh Green. And there was just sort of, Queta. It could have gone either way, really. I think the whistle had to blow there. Missoula did not like the call. The technical came from across the court. I never liked that. I don't care what level it's at. But then later, Charles Lee also getting the technical. And that was part of the Hornets sort of unraveling there. It might not be on any top 10 list, but what the Celtics did to take advantage of the foul trouble the Hornets put themselves in was a difference maker. That's a championship team compared to the Hornets right now, trying to learn how to win. They've got some terrific young talent. They really do. There was a point in the fourth quarter when it got to within a basket where I'm thinking, am I going to go on our latest Locked On Celtics postcast and say this team's like the Indiana Pacers, but just younger? I mean, Ball is 23 years old, but he's his 5th year in the league. He still does things that'll drive you crazy. Absolutely will drive you crazy. But LaMelo Ball, if you watch the game fourth quarter, I think it was the technical. It was under a second on the shot clock. They went over a second on the shot clock. Ball got the inbounds, a hook shot right in front of where Joe Mazzulla usually stands, and I think he hit it back iron. That's LaMelo Ball. Would you have been surprised if that went in? And that's where I said, you know what? I'm not going to compare this Hornets team to the Pacers because the Pacers are advanced of the Hornets. But LaMelo Ball is always looking for that highlight reel play, whether it's him on a shot, a floater, layup in traffic, contact, or a great pass. He's always looking for that big highlight reel play. Does it translate? Do you start hearing, can the Hornets win with LaMelo Ball running the point? Trey Mann, hey, we want to talk about Peyton Pritchard. Man, 20-plus in back-to-back games off the bench. He had a strong game. First half, at one point, the Celtics had the advantage on the offensive boards against the Hornets, one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. And there was a sequence there in the second half where they had 5 straight opportunities and finally scored. And you're thinking you're letting this team hang around. But they just never took the lead in the third or fourth quarter. It was one of those, if they had taken the lead in the fourth quarter and really gotten the crowd into it, could the Celtics have mustered something and put something together to put it away? But to Mike's point, the Celtics were in the bonus with over 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That's what you do as a championship team against a team. I don't want to use immature, but they've got a lot of growing up and a lot of learning to do. There are pieces there. There really are. Queta, Canalze, Carlos Soares, if I have that wrong there, I do apologize. Queta is evolving quickly and is being very consistent. Accidental migrant. Pritchard performance, just reverting to the mean. He'll be okay. Celtics just let the Hornets hang around. And the Hornets did that, but then the Hornets in the final 4+ minutes just went south. And it went south in a hurry. The Celtics took advantage of it. Completely took advantage of it. So rebounding from the loss to open up the road trip against the Pacers in overtime on Wednesday, come back and win. Aggressive early on. That was a theme in the postgame for the Celtics after the loss to the Pacers on Wednesday. We weren't aggressive. I think it was Tatum saying, "Hey, I took some bad shots in there. I took some bad shots," and he owned up to it. But again, you take the victory, did not trail after the first quarter. Took the lead on back-to-back threes in the first quarter, never trailed again. Familiar faces in different places, and we're trying to go no stat zone in segment number 2. That's going to be my goal coming out of the break and the live read. Celtics victorious 124-109 against the Hornets. They'll try to make it 2 straight against the Hornets. They'll play on the road against Atlanta to wrap up the road trip on Monday night. Again, familiar faces, different places, and hopefully no stat zone. That's next in our second segment. Locked On Celtics POSTCAST presented by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you are victorious with that first $5 bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You will get started with $150 in bonus bets if you pick up a victory with your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, keep the comments coming. We get to them. Locked On Celtics POSTCAST. Celtics win by 15. Tatum 34, Brown 25. Are we a little bit nervous on the Celtics and their shooting? They had plenty of points in the paint. I'm giving you those numbers. I told you no stat zone. There's a couple of stats right out, so shame on me. But we'll get into this here as we're going to talk a little about the Celtics in terms of improving to 5-1 on the season. Again, keep those comments coming. Accidental migrant, Pritchard performance again. Peyton Pritchard wasn't going to hit 5 threes a game coming off the bench for the Celtics. Had a rough night, but again, other players step up for the Celtics. Needed over the course of the season. We know that. We're only 6 games into the season, but that's how we're talking. Hey, want to acknowledge our everydayers for making Locked On Celtics with John Corrales and the Locked On Celtics POSTCAST their first listen. Celtics, again, victorious 5-1 with the victory. And wanted to touch on this because when you win titles, when you have success, high school, college, NBA, you're going to lose members of your organization. So Hornets first-year head coach Charles Lee, assistant for the NBA champion Celtics last season, his one and only season on staff under Joe Mazzulla, NBA title, first job as head coach in the NBA, and was hired by the Hornets last May, stayed with the Celtics through the rest of the championship run. But Charles Lee, assistant coach, 1 year again with the Celtics, also time with the Hawks and the Milwaukee Bucks organizations, hired last May. And first opportunity as a head coach in the NBA. Now in charge of a team that has not won a playoff series in 22 years. Remember the Hornets as a expansion franchise way back in the day, Morning, LJ, Larry Johnson. A lot of success early on. Hit on a lot of first-round picks, hit on a lot of different things early on in the franchise's history. But again, Charles Lee taking over a team that hasn't won a playoff series in 22 years. You wish them all the best. And in the pregame, it was talked about Caleb Burton out of a timeout, out of a television break, had something on Charles Lee and also something on former Celtic Grant Williams as well. Williams' first full season in Charlotte from North Carolina. Split time last year with the Mavericks and the Hornets and might be in a good spot. But how he checked Tatum and got tossed from the game in the fourth quarter, just immaturity. Again, that's I don't want to use that word. I don't like using that word, but it's kind of the word you'll use right now for the Hornets. Just had a little meltdown. And Brian Scalabrine said it late. Hey, I'm glad we're playing this team. And Scal uses that we every once in a while. Quite often. But, yeah, you want to see this again tomorrow night. Horford will be back. And you see how things play out. But tomorrow night, if you have a chance to put the pedal to the metal and step on their necks and end it early in the fourth quarter, you have a chance to extend the lead and keep that lead if you're the Celtics. That's what I want to see tomorrow night in the fourth quarter. I almost want to fast forward through the first 36 minutes Saturday night. But you don't. You play the whole game. Mike checking in again. Every team has their schedule circled when they play the Celtics. Absolutely. Hornets played hard, even when they were down by 15. Hornets, if they kept their composure in the end, might have ended differently. Agree 100%. And Mike checking in, let's just say that the team will most likely not hang out with Grant tonight. Scalabrine said, and it might have been Caleb Burton as well, Grant Williams might have the guys over for dinner tonight. Well, now he owes them dinner after the check on Tatum. And again, I give Tatum all the credit in the world. Got up, walked away from it. But it was sort of on the blind side, hit him in the left shoulder, went down, got up, walked away. Everyone else is like, okay, what's going on here? Hey, you used to be on our team. You used to have Celtic pride. Where was it? I don't think, there were spurts in the game where it felt like the Hornets were outplaying the Celtics, but they dug themselves in a hole. They got close. They got to within 2. I don't know if they've got to within 1, but they got to within 2. And there was a possession where they had a turnover where they could have tied or taken the lead. There are certain three-pointers. LaMelo Ball, dribbling on the three-point line, hoisting one up. And again, that's a team that's going to do certain, things like that during the course of a game. So it's, again, keeping your composure against not keeping your composure. And the Celtics coming back the way they did, down 14 at the start of the fourth quarter Wednesday night. Professional effort each and every night. Where, again, they were outplayed for 3.5 quarters, but you know what? Joe Mazzulla had an opportunity to say, hey, we got back-to-back games coming up Friday, Saturday. We're going to go to the bench the rest of the way. No. Ended up going to overtime. And I think that carried over to what you're seeing. Hey, I go back to the Chicago Bulls and winning 6 titles. 3 and then 3 more. They just came to the arena in a different mode. That's what the Celtics are in many ways. I don't like making those comps. We can go back to the 80s and say the same thing. Celtics took the court in the 1980s. What are we going to win by tonight? Who's going to lead us in scoring? Things like that. I think the Celtics very much are the same way. Hashtag different here, right? My 3 random thoughts. I feel like Seth Curry, and I didn't have to confirm this, but I knew it. But doesn't it feel like Seth Curry should be? I mean, he's moved around the league over the course of his NBA career. He's had a nice career for himself. But it feels like Seth Curry would have been a member of the Celtics at some point in his career. Has not happened. I saw this today in an article on The Athletic. Apparently, stocks is a thing in the NBA. Total steals and blocks. And I'm very sorry I did not know stocks was a thing in the NBA before Friday afternoon. My final random thought, Celtics fan, NBA fan, we're allowed to use the word sucks. I don't use it often, but I'll say it here. It sucks that Orlando's Paolo Banchero is going to miss significant time with a torn oblique. That's a tough injury. Was off to a strong start to the season, 30 or more in 3 of his team's first 5, including 50 points this past Monday against the Indiana Pacers. Going to try to make random thoughts. You can add yours as well if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, or you can hit me up with a random thought on the Celtics victory or something from the NBA on Twitter. You can hit me up at Lennox on Hoops as well. Don't know how to pronounce that. I'm getting behind here. Where'd it go? Thought I had it, then I lost it. Let me scroll through here real quick. Be patient. It might have gone away. Ah, there it is. I'll go with Brat for now. Nusagi Brat. I like Banchero. Wish he becomes a Celtic. Yeah, maybe down the road, perhaps. That's a good random thought right there. Yeah, I hated seeing that the other day. We will get into numbers of the night. We tried to stay away from the no stat zone here in segment number 2. Again, Charles Lee, new head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. He's got talent. Let's see where this team is. This is the first of 4 meetings. Second one, right back at it tomorrow night in Charlotte at Spectrum Center. And, if the Celtics can win back-to-back, it sends – I don't even want to say it sends a message early on in the season. But, again, it just is going to tell you, and it's going to speak volumes about the success. You go 1-1, okay, you took the first one. But now you play with house money. You took the first one. Go take the second one from the Hornets, and don't allow them to have any type of confidence when you're playing them. Numbers of the night, we look ahead. That's next. Locked On Celtics POSTCAST. Celtics 15-point win on the road against the Hornets. And once again, Locked On Celtics POSTCAST, Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day, presented by Game Time. Game Time has tickets for all events, not just sports. You can get tickets to your favorite concerts and shows. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite team play live even easier. Game Time Picks is able to filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time app is going to allow for seat views as well before you purchase your tickets. The lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection, also part of all the perks you get with Game Time as well. So you get event cancellation, you get job loss protection, customize your spot, customized with the app, with Game Time. And again, with Game Time app, you get the lowest prices guaranteed, or Game Time is going to credit you 110% of the difference. With Game Time, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app today. Create your account. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create your account. Redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? You know what time it is. It's game time. Again, tip of the cap to Celtics fans who are on board in Charlotte on Friday night to watch the Celtics win by 15. Never trailed after the first quarter. Accidental Migrant, great pod. Hey, appreciate that. Love all the media following the Celtics. Hey, we're jumping on board, and there are a lot for the Red Sox, for the Bruins, for the Patriots, for the Celtics. We are on board as well. Accidental Migrant, do appreciate those words from you as well. Again, we thank our sponsors, Game Time and FanDuel. By supporting our sponsors, you are supporting us with Locked On Sports as well. So there are a couple things I want to get into here with numbers of the night. Again, Celtics 5-1 with the victory. Celtics. And years ago, this is not patting myself on the back or putting my chest out, but years ago, Bristol, Connecticut, covered the Dallas Mavericks pre and post on the Dallas Mavericks ESPN network. Did it out of Bristol, Connecticut during COVID. And I finally went back to my Maverick notes, and I found the websites that I covered the team with. So I'm able to look at notes a little bit differently in the final box scores. But again, Tatum, 32 points, 9 of 19, 3 of 9 from the three-point line, 11 of 13 at the free throw line. Brown. So the two, Tatum and Brown, combining to go 20 for 23. Did the math real quick there in my head in terms of getting to the free throw line. Tatum led the way, another 30-plus point performance, 32 points. Brown, 8 of 19, 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 0 of 6 from behind the three-point line. So here's a number of the night for Jaylen Brown, because I have this updated from the Celtics game notes. Brown the other night, second player in Celtics history to record at least 23 points and 6 rebounds in each of the first 5 games of the season to start a season. Joins Larry Bird, who did it in 84 and 86. Brown has now done that in 6 straight games, 23 or more points and at least 6 or more rebounds. He's now done it in 6 straight games to open up the season. Want to check out this number of the night. The Charlotte Hornets. See where we can find these. Where are we going? Offensive rebounds, 12. And they had 14 points off those offensive rebounds. So the Hornets, one of the best, they had a season low in offensive rebounds, 12. 15, 22, 15, and 14 over their first 4 games. Again, they had a sequence. 5th opportunity was the golden moment as they were able to finally score. Miss, offensive rebound. 4 times finally scored on their 5th shot attempt. Derek White knocked down 3 threes. Derek White with a milestone. Derek White now has 700 threes in his NBA career. Celtics on the three-point line, 13 of 42. Again, a lot of attempts. Derek White was 3 of 10. Holiday was 3 of 6. And then you got a great performance off the bench from Queta. Again, the bench guys, how about Jordan Walsh in terms of a bench guy? Second quarter, gets in the game, they get him the ball. I think it was right in front of the Celtics bench, put it up, bang, three-pointer. Another possession later in the second quarter, knocked down another 3. So he had 6 points in the second quarter. Pritchard ended up with 7. 1 of 6 from the field, 5 of 6 at the line, 0 of 5 from behind the three-point line. I'm making a bet with myself. I'm betting myself a quarter. Pritchard tomorrow night in game 2 goes out, knocks down a couple of threes. But you saw it against Doc Rivers and the Bucks earlier this week. Because Pritchard hit a 3, they went to Doc Rivers on the Bucks sideline, and he just went down saying, why are we letting this guy beat us on the three-point line? Pritchard does a nice job with the defender running out at him. He can put the ball on the floor. But the last 2 games, or at least, an 0 for Pritchard, 0 for 5 on threes. Again, 7 points. Ended up with 5 steals. That's a big number. How about that for Pritchard? But Queta, again, 6 of 6. Couple of highlight reel dunks in the second half and in the fourth quarter. And Pritchard, again, against the Pacers the other night, ran him off the three-point line. And where was that? Do I have Pritchard here right? No, I don't. Pritchard was 1 of 9 on threes against the Knicks, but 22 of 40 over the previous 4 games entering Friday night. So you'll take that again. But you kind of you kept them off the offensive boards. Again, there was that one sequence where they had 5 opportunities and finally came through with a bucket. And you'll take that. Points in the paint. Celtics gave up 62 points in the paint to the Pacers Wednesday night. That was an overtime game. Points in the paint, 52 for the Hornets. A lot of that in the second half. What's on tap? What's next? Hey, game 2 of this series. Back-to-back. You call it a series. It's like I'm talking baseball right now. But you've got the second of a back-to-back against the Hornets Saturday night. And then in Atlanta, and then home for the game that we've had circled for quite some time. Golden State Warriors at TD Garden Wednesday night. Welcome in Steve Kerr. How loud the boo's going to be Wednesday night when Steve Kerr is introduced with the Golden State Warriors starting lineup. That's Wednesday, home and home. Warriors on Wednesday, November 6th, then home against the Brooklyn Nets. That a week from tonight, next Friday as well. So the Celtics pick up. A win is a win right now as you look at it. Let's hit the comment button one more time. Mike checking in. Brown seemed more in control of his game. 3-pointers are going to fall. Played a great game overall. I agree. Got to the rim. Had a beautiful fadeaway. I think it was in the second quarter. Got into the paint, inside the free throw line, fadeaway. He can score. I think Brian Scalabrine mentioned it. And I know I'm new to the party. You as a Celtics fan know Brown's resume. He's got that ability to score from the three-point line, mid-range, in the paint, and at the rim. Love it. And I think there was actually at one point Drew Carter and Brian Scalabrine talking about Jalen Brunson in the same way. But I, across the board, give the edge. And I'm a Jalen Brunson fan. But across the board, I give the edge to Jaylen Brown. Again, as Mike said, three-pointers are going to fall. Absolutely. Three-pointers are going to fall. Celtics, again, never trailed after hitting back-to-back threes in the first quarter. Hornets got it close a couple of times, but the Celtics end up winning it 124-109, and now 5-1 on the season with the victory of 4-1. Plus 15 on the victory for the Celtics. The stat line that I have here right now is off. So Celtics, again, pick up the victory. We're right back at it Saturday night. This is going to be a fun one. I don't want to fast forward through the first 36 minutes Saturday night, but I think you're going to see beginning to end, you know, there's going to be some intensity to Saturday night's game, especially with the way things played out on Friday night. And it'll see what kind of, to a certain degree, I don't want to go overboard with this, but it's going to be interesting to see Charles Lee and his input with this team, with this Charlotte Hornets team, how they respond on Saturday night. They're going to grind. They're going to grind in just about every game. At the end, can they find a way to win? Or is it going to be like Friday night, more often than not, for a team that's going to go through some more growing pains? They've got a new coach in place, got a lot of new players. Simone, first-round pick, Frenchman. He's got some game as well. So, again, we are going to be on within minutes of the final buzzer of the second of the back-to-back between the Celtics and the Hornets. Again, Celtics 5-1 with the victory. And as we say goodbye, we want to tip our cap to everyone who commented with us. And again, we hopefully have a big idea coming up next week that I'd like to execute at least once a week going forward. And that is going to involve you as well. Let's go Celtics, and MVP chance for Jayson Tatum late in the first quarter. You heard him again in the fourth quarter on the road in Charlotte as the Celtics fans in North Carolina, in the Carolinas, supporting their Celtics Friday night. I expect more of the same for Game 2 of the back-to-back with the Celtics and Hornets Saturday night from the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Celtics Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with all the free Locked On Celtics information with the Locked On Celtics newsletter. As always, we do thank you for making us your first listen every day. We also thank you for making Locked On Celtics with John Corrales your first listen every day as well. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and also right here on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel as well. Saturday night, live right there on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, looking for another Celtics victory and looking for the sweep of the Hornets over the weekend in Charlotte. Locked On Sports Boston, number one place to hang out immediately after every game. Locked On Sports, your team every day.